to expect next in Austin, Texas. Already here this afternoon in the first of our doubleheader, the top seed is gone. Oklahoma ousted by North Carolina. And now they'll move along to Dallas, Texas, and they'll take on the winner of this game, matching the surprising Flyers of Dayton against the best of the Southwest Conference, the Arkansas Razorbacks. And good afternoon and welcome, everybody. I'm Brent Musburger. The Dayton Flyers come in here with an 11-game winning streak. Michigan State now at 12, having won already this afternoon. So perhaps Dayton can match it. Dayton at least comes with one of the more entertaining teams, a new coach, Jim O'Brien, and Nigel Knight is a sensation in their backcourt.
He really is, Brandon. When Jimmy O'Brien put in this up-tempo offense, it fit Knight perfectly. He has probably played over this 11-game stretch that you mentioned as well as any player in the United States. A great penetrator. He can shoot the three, and he has just had a great run.
Now for Arkansas, Coach Nolan Richardson. They are 27-4 and a team capable of going all the way to the Final Four. They've got a great backcourt man in Lee Mayberry.
They really do. And maybe Chris Jackson came out of the scene with more fanfare last year, but Mayberry, as far as a complete guard, is as good as anybody in the country. Never turns the ball over, knows how to distribute, and an excellent shooter as well.
Don't blink. You may miss 2 baskets in this up-tempo game. It's Dayton and Arkansas coming up.
CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by United Airlines, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies. Wendy's old-fashioned hamburgers, the best hamburgers, and a whole lot more. And by today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America.
Give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball!
Well, let's meet the starting lineups for Arkansas and Dayton, and let's go to Wally Pryor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Frank Irwin Center in Austin, Texas, for tonight's second-round game in the Midwest region between the Dayton Flyers and the Arkansas Razorbacks. Now let's meet the starting lineup. For the University of Dayton, at forward, a 6'6½" senior from Dayton, Ohio, number 20, Anthony Carvin. For the University of Arkansas, at forward, a 6'8" sophomore from Memphis, Tennessee, number 10, TODD. For the University of Dayton, at forward, a 6'5" senior from Willard, Ohio, number 35, Nolan Robinson. For the University of Arkansas, at forward, a 6'5" senior from Dallas, Texas, number 24, Lindsey Howell. For the University of Dayton, at center, a 6'11" sophomore from New Lebanon, Ohio, number 52, Wes Coffey. For the University of Arkansas, at center, a 6'9" senior from Kansas City, Kansas, number 55, Mario Reddick. For the University of Dayton, at guard, a 6'2" senior from Dayton, Ohio, number 11, Ray Springer. From the University of Arkansas, at guard, a 6'2" sophomore from Tulsa, Oklahoma, number 11, Lee Mayberry. From the University of Dayton, at guard, a 6'2" senior from Detroit, Michigan, number 32, Ncaa. From the University of Arkansas, at guard, a 5'10" junior from Memphis, Tennessee, number 20, Arlen Powell. And introducing the coaches for the University of Dayton in his first year, Jim O'Brien. For the University of Arkansas in his 5th year, Nolan Richardson.
A Texas greeting for Nolan Richardson, who was kicked out of this building when he came in with Arkansas the last time. We'll be right back. From the Frank Irwin Center in Austin, Texas, the referees for this Arkansas-Dayton game, Dick Paparo will toss it up. He's working alongside Rusty Herring and David Bear. We're ready to go. The winner to move along to take on North Carolina and Dallas.
Bad toss, ball thrown over their head.
Arkansas the better seed, so they'll wear their home whites. And they come down with Day nailing the first shot. Todd Day out of Memphis puts the Razorbacks up by 2, and now the full court pressure. These teams will mirror each other. The question is, can Dayton play at this tempo against another team? We're about to find out. Bingo! They tie it up on Anthony Corbett's jumper. So it's 3-2 on that first basket by Day. Was a 3-point shot. So it is 3-2 Arkansas.
Brent, it'll be a great matchup. Corbett and Howell, 2 players that are not the kind of guys you recruit out of high school to be big stars, but 2 workman-like players who get the most out of their ability.
Miguel Knight, number 32, the man to watch for the Flyers, gets a screen. Nice, confident dribble. Comes down to the baseline. Drew the first foul. No shot. That came after the foul. First personal against Arkansas.
Well, you can see what Dayton's doing early on because Arkansas likes to switch. They're setting solid screens out high, which puts Bowers in a situation that if they do switch, he can't get back on the quicker night.
So Bowers with the game's first personal. Underneath, they get an easy field goal for Nolan Robinson.
The Credit trying to go ahead and play for the block. Not a wise move. We see the zone defense. Day will try to find himself a spot.
Bowers, rebound by Dayton. Robinson, the 6'5" senior, pulling it down. And here is Knight again. His first 3. Arkansas at the glass, and Day traveled when he went down. Dayton ball underneath its own basket.
Fred Day, the MVP of the Southwest Conference Tournament. All-conference performer, obviously, and sure to be an All-American before he gets out of Arkansas. He's a great one.
This is Ray Springer, number 11. Great reverse dribble. Got himself on the inside. Coffey could not get the handle. Well, he'd be coming up for a 3-point try.
At this stage, if you're Nolan Richardson, you have to be a little bit concerned. Dayton is penetrating with the dribble on every occasion.
Boy, they look real good here, Billy.
Well, it's not a very big team. It's interesting, a mid-major club, as there you see Jimmy O'Brien on the sideline. Sometimes lift their players 1.5 inches taller than they really are. It's not a very big team, but you remember the last Dayton's club that did well in the NCAA was only 6'4" on average.
Jim O'Brien having upset Illinois already in this tournament, although don't use the word upset with him. He felt very confident coming into that game. Not so in this one. He said they're going to have their hands full before this one's over. It's 6-3. Dayton jumps out. Oh, shades of Roosevelt chapters. Folks back home in Dayton, remember that.
Good low dribble by Bowers.
Dropping into Credit. He gets it right back. And he'll come to the line.
And Mario Credit had a monster game in the NCAA tournament against Loyola Marymount. And he's the guy that they'd like to get off early.
So Coffey committing his first personal. And Credit with a field goal. Comes to the line. Out of Kansas City, 6'9" senior. There are 2 seniors on this starting 5 for the Razorbacks. So this is a club with a great future ahead of them. Nolan Richardson has put together a splendid program at Arkansas. Knight bringing the ball up against pressure, and he turns it over.
Great double team that time by Dave. And Bowers moved his feet extremely well to stay with Knight, who's been beating people one-on-one.
Now, that's what Arkansas does. That pressure defense, they force turnovers all game long. Day at the offensive end with a great look-away pass, and alertly running it down is Ray Springer. Very aggressive defense by Arkansas right now, and stepping on the inside is Knight. Great pass to Coffey for the layup. Oh, Knight did a spectacular job that time getting on the inside.
They're beating the one-on-one defense on almost every occasion.
Day banks one in. 5 points for the game. He hit a 3 to start it.
Day's grown a couple inches since he got to Arkansas. He's got that soft jump shot. Getting penetration at will.
Dayton is shooting layups right now. Nolan Robinson coming in for an easy field goal. 10-8. Dayton leads it. Ball knocked out of bounds, and that was Robinson who got a hand on it.
Brent, so far you find there's Credit getting beat on a one-on-one dribble. Arkansas has not stopped anybody with penetration so far. Not what Nolan Richardson would like at all.
Jim O'Brien uses the Rick Pitino system, and he's just as animated on the sideline as Lindsey Howell drains the second three-point field goal for Arkansas. And against the double team, they quickly get it up to the attack. Robinson rims out. Coffey can't handle. Loose, run down by Dayton. Getting loose balls now, and they pull it back on the inside for that short jump shot by Robinson.
You're looking at a club that was 12-17 last year, playing a much slower tempo.
And Dayton missing, but credit underneath. Comes back up and drew the foul before the shot, according to Paparo. That one underway. A great guard matchup there. Kenny Anderson of Georgia Tech and Chris Jackson of LSU. And Sam Howard is going to be checking in also. So two subs come in. That's Alex Robertson. He was the first recruit by Jim O'Brien. There's Howard, the 6'8 junior.
Jim O'Brien substitutes along the pattern of NBA-type coaching and thinking. At certain times in the game, he'll substitute regardless of the situation. If you play this type of up-tempo game, you've got to do that.
And Credit fires the Razorbacks into a one-point lead here with 16:40 to go. This is Knight. Getting inside on the penetration and gets it to roll. You know, he plays with great poise, confidence, and he's extremely aggressive, Billy. This was our first opportunity to see him, and I was really curious about him. And I can tell you right away, he looks like a point guard to me.
Well, he's a great player. 4 out of 7 weeks, he was named Conference Player of the Week. So he has been on some tear the last,
look at that spin away
2
from
weeks.
Day, get on the inside. Put down by Anthony Corbett, the 6'6 senior from Dayton's Patterson High School.
I don't think that Arkansas anticipated this kind of run against them. They're a much better defensive club than what they're showing right now, and you have to credit Dayton with all of that penetration. Nice scoop shot.
Scoop inside, and then Credit goes back for 2 efforts, and the second one falls for him. So Mario Credit is off with a 7-point start here in the early going.
Robertson at 6'3", not big enough to handle him inside.
And I don't take that 3. Short, Arkansas ball. Lead now to Day, coming into the paint. Nicely done.
But I think the situation is such that you have Dayton playing under Arkansas and Arkansas playing over the top of Dayton.
Offensive foul is the call after he traveled. So we've got our first break. Everybody take a breath. When you come back, we've got 15-11 in the first half. No, this was Norm Greavy of the Flyers, and Steve Bardo took it to him with the clothesline, and he suffered a painful hip bruise, which will keep him out of the Flyers lineup. And that is a tremendous blow to their attack, because off the bench, he's averaged almost 10 points a game. It's a familiar name. His brother Kevin, a standout at Kentucky and later in the NBA. So the Flyers are definitely going to be shorthanded, and David Braz will have to pick up some of the slack, and he's out on the floor right now, number 3. And the foul goes against Day as Braz drew the charge, so he contributes right away, Billy.
Braz, of course, you mentioned the heritage there, 13-3, big lead, LSU on the move here, but you talk about the heritage of Kevin Greavy and Norm, and Brad's his father, Gary, an outstanding player at Ohio State. Still holds some major records there, 2-time All-American.
This is Brad's holding the ball right now. Knight is still on the floor with him. Robertson is number 24, and they have Corbett down on the inside, along with Sam Howard. So with this up-tempo attack, Dayton frequently goes to his bench for Coach O'Brien. Bratz confidently steps inside and hits the shot.
The real problem for Arkansas today, they're not committed to defense, which is really getting them in trouble. Excellent hands by Miller, but not a good idea on the pass.
That's Oliver Miller, their 6'9" sophomore center. There was more than that, folks, a few months ago. He weighed in at 300 pounds, much to Coach Richardson's dismay. Now he's down to a svelte 275, and yesterday here in the arena, He kept looking for some sodas back there when practice was over.
Yeah, but he's quick off his feet, has excellent hands, and he can carry an awful lot of weight. Maybe that 255 or 60 would be great, but best shot blocker in their league.
At that time, he came out on Howard, and the Razorbacks come down, trailing it by a point. Mayberry, with great skills, covered well by Brad.
Good touch pass.
Right back to Day, who rises with the jump shot, and then Miller goes for the rebound. Just how you described him, Billy.
He has great hands.
He traveled. Flyers ball.
You're looking at a travel by Mayberry, who has the best turnover-assist ratio in the United States.
Flyers have forced 6 turnovers by Arkansas in the early going. We got 13-49.
Not unusual for this club, and I think that Dayton right now is committed much more to playing their game than is Arkansas theirs. Arkansas, a much more talented ball club, but not doing the job with effort.
Springer giving Knight a break, and there's the big fellow over his head. A little too dangerous that time. Brad's retreated.
Arkansas back into the zone with Miller down inside.
Brad's moves in, and there is Miller again, and Howard underneath has it stripped, and the Razorbacks come out. Day dribbles it up to the attack. Takes the jump shot. Push. And the foul going against the Flyers.
Ncaa Howell had excellent position, but Howard pushed him from the back. That caught.
Really, it's kind of interesting in an arena like this as the Flyers go to their bench again and Knight returns. Interesting that after a major upset like the one we just witnessed, that the crowd, it takes time for them to settle back in. There's no home team right here, and it's going to be as difficult for Texas fans to pull for Arkansas as it was for Oklahoma, but rather quiet, submissive right down. That'll pick up in the second half if the Flyers stay in this one.
Kind of took their breath away, particularly the way that last game ended.
Stunning first game as Ron Hury, the 6'7" junior, number 31, just handled the ball. He checked in for Coach Richardson. Mayberry, who's a great three-point shooter. Hury contributes a rebound, and they reset again, and Miller shifts over. Mayberry says this time, and he's 0 for 2, unusual for him. Hawkins, who checked in, rebounded, and the travel will send the ball to Dayton.
Mayberry has the #1 field goal shooting percentage from the three-point line of anybody in the United States. Hit and misses 2 in a row.
17-3, and suddenly look who's got chemistry. Dale Brown and the Tigers.
Stay in the zone.
And the ball is whipped out of bounds by Bill Ewell.
Ewell's dad. We have a lot of people here that have some connections. His dad, a great All-American center at Dayton back in the 60s.
18-17. 12.5 minutes, first half.
Ewell doing a good job not letting Miller handle the ball down low.
Here's Miller, missing. Knight hit the ball, and Springer will bring it up on
good hit.
Beautiful pass, and Anthony Corbett. And quickly, Arkansas can pass, hits Ewell, and goes out of bounds. It'll be Arkansas ball. Actually, that saved it.
Good play on the inside. Ewell from one side. Springer comes from the other side. He can't get the shot off. No room in the inside, and a good fast break opportunity for Dayton, but they can't convert as Corbett missed.
Arkansas has made only 2 of its last 11 shots.
And
5:45, Billy.
The longer this game goes, the more that Jim O'Brien can convince his fellas that they can win this ball game.
Ernie Murray on the floor now. Arkansas missing again. It's Hury, but he stays with it. And a foul against Dayton. Hawkins was fouled coming back with the shot. And that's 2 fouls on Ewell since checking into the game.
Brennan, the Southwest Conference tournament, Arkansas really turned it up a notch, beating Houston in the final. Nolan Richardson for the 2nd year in a row, Coach of the Year in that league. And has such a young club, you can expect him to be a major factor again next year. Free throw shooter is Hawkins.
Timeout at the 11:59 mark. Arkansas and Dayton even at 18. We'll be right back. Great panorama. The NCAA tournament, March Madness at Hartford today. The University of Connecticut and Clemson advanced on down to the region in the New Jersey Meadowlands. Meanwhile, in Salt Lake, UNLV, and one of the major surprises of this tournament, Ball State, advance along to the West Regional in Oakland. Here, the Dayton Flyers with the ball tied with the Razorbacks, and now they're back into the lead on Robinson's field goal, and he has contributed 8 points here in the first half.
Miller Richardson going to a smaller lineup now with a 2-guard lineup in the game.
Foul against Dayton.
Murray and Mayberry.
That's Ray Springer, who's assessed the personal on Urey. Billy, what about the mental attitude of the Arkansas players right now?
I really don't think they came into this game with the type of defensive intensity that's necessary to get by such a dangerous opponent. You know, Dayton has had not only a great year, but of recent weeks beaten Xavier twice. They're tough.
Maybe that will give Nolan Richardson's team a wake-up call as Miller powers in the jam, and we're deadlocked at 20. The Flyers, meanwhile, just keep up the pressure. Up-tempo game, and another field goal for Robinson. He's on fire. 10 points. He's hit 5 of 6.
Curry walked that by with one.
Mayberry not getting off to a good start.
You notice how Dayton is releasing on the rebounding, and then they get the numbers down the other end. Robinson open again.
Here's Springer. Long rebound, pulled away by Robinson, and fouled inside by Miller.
Well, Miller did not have his hands straight up. When he broke his palm, that's what got him the foul. Robinson's second team all-league in Southwest Conference. Speaking of Miller, rather. And let's see if for the first time they can get something going off the press full court.
That's a 4-point Dayton lead. 24-20, 10:53, and again, Coach O'Brien goes back to his bench. Alex Robertson, the freshman out of Chicago, the defensive specialist, back on the floor trying to keep the ball over by the sideline in front of the Dayton bench.
You notice their press is not an intense press. It's just showing it and dropping back.
They'll settle for the 3. And off the miss, the Flyers come out on the move. Their ball underneath their own hoop. So from Austin, Texas, with Billy Packer, I'm Brent Musburger. This is the second game of the Midwest region here in Austin, Texas, home of the University of Texas. And the Longhorns have advanced to a game up in Indianapolis on Sunday. Nigel Knight was fouled, so he'll come to the free throw line. Well, I have an opportunity. We want to send along a birthday greeting to the athletic director at Dayton, Tom Frerichs, a splendid gentleman. He's on the NCAA basketball committee, and lately, as so many of the good folks up in Dayton and in that area realize, he has been battling cancer and doing it successfully. He is at the regional games unfolding up in Indianapolis, and I know the one thing he is so proud of this Dayton basketball team is the fact that all 6 of these seniors are due to graduate on time this summer. And that's a great success story when you can read that rather than the points per game or rebounds, when you can say that all your seniors are going to go ahead and graduate. Just a tremendous success story. And also, we've got to say something about his former friend, the man he had to replace, Don Donaher, and the class that he demonstrated after he was released at Dayton. He has helped Jim O'Brien with this team. This is one of the warmest stories in college basketball, where a man who was forced to leave under pressure does not forget where he's been. He's now working with Bobby Knight, and he's helped Jim O'Brien whenever he has needed it. And right now, the Dayton Flyers lead at 26-20.
And you notice, Brett, that Nolan Richardson has gone to a lineup that doesn't play together very often. Very disappointed, I think, with the effort that his team has made, particularly on defense.
You would have thought that North Carolina would have awakened the Razorbacks.
Well, when you get in a tournament that's one and done, every player should understand that he better put forth his best effort or he's going to be going home playing his last game for the year.
Now it's Fury coming on the inside, missing the shot. Dayton again coming off with the rebound and going right down on the attack. And it's Knight. Couldn't get the roll. Tap won't go. Arkansas ball. 9:20 to go, first half.
But the style doesn't put quite as much pressure on as Loyola Marymount, but Dayton will push that ball up extremely well and get the numbers 3-on-2.
Fury with the three-point basket. Cuts the lead in half, 26-23. Corbett battling away on the inside. Arkansas ball. On the move. Offense is the call.
Good job by Brad. He anticipated, and Day committed from about 15 feet from the basket. That's why he picked up the charge.
That's the second time that Brads has stepped in and drawn the charge, and that's 2 personal fouls on Day. Arkansas just can't buy a hoop, can they?
Well, they've gotten completely out of sync. It was very obvious early on the effort wasn't there defensively, and a lot of times that takes away from your offensive thrust as well. Robinson back in the ball game. He's the man that had the hot hand earlier. See if they get it back to him. Over on the weak side.
Great move inside by Robinson to Corbett. Just a tremendous pass. He could have taken the shot himself, but it was an easy layup if he dished it off, which he did.
But I don't think I've ever seen anybody penetrate with the dribble against Arkansas as easily as what Dayton is doing. And give a lot of credit to the Dayton players. It's the skill level that they really have and are doing a good job with.
If Northern Iowa can beat Missouri, folks, anything can happen in this tournament. I'll tell you that right now. That is Corbett again. With that jump shot, Arkansas calls a timeout.
Tomorrow, catch a triple-header thriller as second-round excitement continues. It's March Madness Mania.
He's a coach who will get your attention in a hurry. Nolan Richardson, coming out of UTEP, played the defensive line for the San Diego Chargers before also playing in the American Basketball Association with the Dallas Chaparrals. You're looking at one of the finest all-around athletes ever. And when he says something to you, you pay attention. And right now, Arkansas has been sleepwalking. Let's see what happens. Here they come again. Off the steal.
Oh, what a steal.
Great steal back and knocked it out of bounds. Bowers coming right with him. And Richardson has put his starting lineup back in, Billy.
He did do that, and of course Bowers had to recognize. You can see Nolan right there telling you got to recognize you have a double team, pass the ball and hit ahead.
Arkansas hitting only 36% against this aggressive Dayton defense. They have turned it over 10 times.
Good double team. Knight sitting over here on the opposite side, and I'm sure that Jim O'Brien liked to see that ball get over. Good double team here. Lindsey Howell, one of the more underrated players in the country, just does one thing for you, and that is win games.
Foul on Arkansas. Bowers jumping out on Knight. Isn't that amazing?
It really is, and the reason for that is they haven't been able to get Mayberry in the game at all to start distributing the ball. Nolan made a
very unhappy.
He really is. He made an excellent point the other day in regard to the Princeton game. He said, you know, that wasn't a defensive game. That was an offensive game because you didn't have many possessions and you had to really work on your offense. He thought today would be a game of defense.
Billy, if Knight fills out just a little bit, I know the NBA has not rated him highly, and it's been somewhat controversial with Jim O'Brien, the Dayton Flyer coach. You got to take a look at him.
Well, I think I would go along with whatever O'Brien says. He's coached the young man all year long, and he's got NBA experience. On his 11-game stretch, he's averaging almost 30 points a game, shooting close to 70% from the three, so he has been really doing it.
settle back in here and get a run going. Howell up with the jump shot. Short. Arkansas ball.
And they're showing a little bit more quickness now down on the offensive end of the floor.
7:18 left in the first half. Howell on the run off the fake. Drew the foul on Knight.
Good pump fake by Lindsey Howell. And he does have the ability to shoot the three, so you had to go out and play him honestly.
That's the first foul of the game on Knight. Over the limit, so Arkansas will be shooting the rest of the way.
It was 20-0, Brent, the other night against Illinois, points over off turnovers. So Dayton picking up right where they left off. And after that sensational final against Xavier in their conference championship, this team has really played well throughout February and early March. Howell was last year's MVP of the Southwest Conference tournament.
Now sub checks in. Wes Coffey returning for the Flyers. He'll take the ball out of bounds. 32-25. Dayton leading the champions of the Southwest Conference tournament.
Jim O'Brien was worried about pressing against Arkansas. I think Arkansas has to be worried about pressing Dayton. I don't think they can handle it.
Down away from the ball on the inside. Goes against Arkansas.
This might not be what Arkansas wants, but they may be better off just dropping back because Dayton just taking it right to him off the dribble.
Actually, it was a foul on the shooter. Knight coming on up to that free throw line, and Bowers now with 3 personal fouls here in the first half, and Nolan will go back to the bench. Ron Hury returning.
Knight scored 27 against Illinois, 11 for 13 from the foul line. Just an excellent all-around offensive performance.
You know, there's another team that should be paying attention to this, Troy. Georgetown. There's another team out of this conference, Xavier, that Dayton picked off twice down the stretch, including the championship. And it's obvious now that they can play in that conference. This Dayton story is one of the great untold stories of the year.
Well, it's a very good young coaches league, too, when you consider Jimmy O'Brien, Pete Gillen, among others. Fellows with vast experience at young ages.
Howell. And now Howell drops in a couple of jump shots, giving him 7 for the half.
Here again, you see that Dayton, every time that they try to press them, they get better numbers than does Arkansas.
Springer misfired over everything. Shot up an air ball into Howell's hands, and Arkansas can get a run going now. There's no question about the superior depth of talent in this game. It belongs to Arkansas. Hury with the 3 that's not there, and a rebound goes to the Flyers. Not giving them easy putback baskets at that end, are they? Robinson misfiring, and Hury rebounded.
He doesn't see Day, who had broken out, had a chance for a layup.
Traveled and got away with it, but not for long.
Arkansas really out of sync, and you think somewhat about the Princeton game may have gotten them into that type of a lethargic pace.
And that was our earlier upset, where an 8 seed North Carolina dropped Oklahoma. The number 1 seed at Southeast, Michigan State, moving along. Good comeback by Santa Barbara in that game. And Springer drains a 3.
Throws up an air ball, comes right back with a 3. Mark of a team that has a lot of confidence.
Robinson out on Mayberry as O'Brien continues to run in different defensive players on it. Ball was halfway down.
Good block by Coffey. Yes, sir. Nolan
Technical foul on Nolan Richardson has been called by Dick Paparo.
Brent, he called that one from this side of the floor, and actually Nolan was talking to the other official that was down under the basket. Nolan can't believe it. Knight, an 80% free throw shooter with that great penetration, went on the line over 230 times this year. 5th-year senior. Had operations for bone spurs as a freshman.
Now, in that controversial Texas game, before he took the technical, Nolan Richardson left the floor with about 14 seconds to go in regulation. Then they tied it up on a three-point play, went into overtime, and Richardson came back to the bench. Tom Penders, the Longhorn coach, remains upset about that. He said that Richardson should have been assessed a technical penalty. Well, Tom, if you're watching, he got it here this afternoon, and it's 37-27 with 5:20 to go.
A little late. There's another one of those unusually funny rotation on that shot by Springer.
Corbett stayed with it, couldn't get it to fall. Arkansas ball. He's finally caught fire. Lindsey Howell, out of the Dallas, Texas area, with 9 points, is the leading scorer for the Razorbacks. Day with 7, Credit with 7. Mayberry is scoreless. That's the kind of defensive job being done by Dayton against him. They have focused on Mayberry here, and so far they have been successful.
But not only is he scoreless, he hasn't generated any offense for his teammates either, and that's usually what he's so good at.
Good fake down on the inside. Corbett got his man in the air and then came through smoothly. Fury on the penetration.
Good play off the bench by Fury. His newcomer of the year in the Southwest Conference, his first year, of course, had his problems.
The three by Robertson.
Surrounding the defense. And again, Arkansas very lethargic defensively, getting beat.
This is Mayberry being hounded right now by Robertson, who's only a freshman.
Stays in that zone.
This is some defensive game plan that's been put together in this one. Arkansas is going to have to make some changes at the half. Knight coming on the inside, forced that one.
Thought he got fouled twice. Knight can't believe it. He's on his knees. He was fouled about 3 or 4 times in that play.
3:53.
Saturday morning in Ford County.
I see you got a new Chevy.
So North Carolina and Ball State provide the Saturday afternoon upsets here today and move along to the regionals and make the Sweet 16. That's an annual rite of spring for the Tar Heels of Dean Smith. And the ACC having a spectacular tournament, and Georgia Tech, which trailed LSU early, now back in it, down by 7 points. And here Jim O'Brien is orchestrating a masterpiece so far. It's 42-31. Dayton upsetting Arkansas.
Brett, the official, put the ball down the end line. Second time we've seen that today. Players have to get over there and get it out in 5 seconds. A little half-court trap here.
Lindsey Howell, he's been the strongest offensive performer of the game for Richardson. 11 points in the first half.
Nothing there.
Bad pass. Razorbacks on the turnover can back up field goals, and they return the favor.
Neither pass, Brent, a good idea. And Hawkins yelling back at Murray, but it really wasn't a good idea to throw that one, particularly when you're down
in
by
the
9
first
points.
half. Arkansas has equaled its game average for turnovers against Dayton. And there's the update on the LSU-Georgia Tech game out of the Southeast. If LSU can win that one, they go to New Orleans. And Knight, no foul call.
Boy, Knight's getting a rough job on refereeing.
An easy layup for Arkansas.
See if he continues to try to penetrate.
Now Miller, who really's got a free rein, if they're not going to call anything on the inside, he can really start jumping out like that and be extremely aggressive. Here's Fury's 3.
Howell again, the man of the hour so far.
Robinson comes up with it for the Flyers. Swings inside. I think we got one referee out there who's not calling anything, Billy. I think that's what the situation is right now. I think Papero's got to carry the load.
But this game is really out of sync for Arkansas. You know, they have no pattern whatsoever in their offense. It's basically everybody going one-on-one.
Howell steps in and nails the 3. Lindsey Howell with 14 first-half points. And the Razorbacks right back in it, 42-38.
Knight being guarded by a bigger man just takes Hawkins. I think they need to get the ball back tonight.
Robertson forces one from the side.
The ball better get back in Knight's hands here. Jimmy O'Brien thinking timeout. They've forgotten who brought him here. There he is.
They let it slip away a little bit. Now they pound it back on the inside, and Knight will get it back.
He's got Hury on him. Hury's got the bad knee. He ought to just go ahead and take it.
Good switch by the Razorbacks defense.
Well, he is getting
he's just getting killed on the inside.
The whole complexion of this game has been changed by officiating in the last 3 minutes.
Hury on a runner.
Or the lack thereof.
Ties the score at the 1-minute mark. It's an 11-0 Arkansas run, and the Razorbacks are right back where they started. Corbett. Coffey.
Well, that one had to be a foul.
Finally, with a little blood dripping on him, the foul is called.
Here's Knight. Knight goes in. Bang. He gets hit. No foul.
Here he is on the inside. Pumps fakes. No foul. And you know, Brent, this run was made by Arkansas. Nolan Richardson doing a tough thing for a coach in a game like this. He sat down his stars. Mayberry and Day weren't involved in that run. Now Day and Mayberry back in the game. Maybe he said, hey, guys, watch a while.
He also took a technical from this officiating crew, and O'Brien has not yet been working on the officials at the other end. Since that technical, almost everything has gone Richardson's way. That also is the mark of a veteran coach. You got to know when to get on the men with the whistles, especially in this tournament.
Nothing dropping now for Dayton.
Now the Razorbacks can take the lead on into the locker room. They can spare themselves some kind of pep talk if they can get the lead here.
Well, and they're in a position with the shot clock about 5 seconds differential. Hold it right on down there for one.
I believe that if things had gone as they were, Richardson would have walked in there with a whip and a chair. But now his men have climbed back into a tie, and it might be civilized inside that Arkansas locker room.
You know, you talk about Tarkanian's towel. That one that Nolan has a little prettier. It's got polka dots on it. Doesn't kind of fit his personality.
Miller wanted to go to work on the inside. Mayberry launches one at the buzzer. So Nolan Richardson and the Arkansas Razorbacks are fortunate to be back in a tie. Dayton 42, Arkansas 42, and our coverage will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Remember, know when to say when. Advil, advanced medicine for pain. And by the United States Postal Service. We deliver for you.
Well, the Razorbacks on a run, the last 11 points of the first half to tie it up with Dayton, 42-all in Austin. The winner will face North Carolina in Dallas. Now, there's just a minute and change left in the first half in Knoxville in the game between Georgia Tech and LSU. LSU's lead now has been trimmed to 3. Let's go to the close of the first half there and join our colleagues Brad Nessler and Tommy Heinsohn.
We welcome our viewers from the Dayton, Arkansas game to Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville, Tennessee, where LSU jumped all over Georgia Tech and led by 17. But Georgia Tech has dwindled it down to 41-38 with 1:05 to go in the half.
Well, what happened was that Georgia Tech tried to attack the two big guys, take the ball inside, Shaquille O'Neal and Stanley Roberts, and they were eating them up alive with blocking shots. Georgia Tech has become a little bit more discreet, shooting on the outside, their normal game.
Dennis Scott over O'Neal. That's an air ball. Had to adjust the three-point shot. Chris Jackson's going to bring it down against Carl Brown. Offensive foul on Jackson. Georgia Tech had the first field goal of the game, and then LSU just took over. And there you see what they've shot. Georgia Tech's been ice cold. They've helped themselves with offensive rebounds. Shaquille O'Neal, 15 points and 4 blocks. Chris Jackson, only 5 points. And Bobby Creme and Yellow Jackets are going to feel like they are Irish lucky if they can go into the locker room only down a point, and they're going to play for the final shot.
Well, Georgia Tech got back into this ball game primarily because Dale Brown was forced to take one of his big guys out, those 2 pyramids. And I think that's when Georgia Tech started to get their running game going, and they crawled back into it. Now this little guy outside, as a freshman, he's taking charge.
Shot clock is off. That's the game clock until halftime down in the corner of your screen. Kenny Anderson penetrates. Got it off the glass. Jackson, not much time. Singleton at the buzzer.
All right, so the trend in this game more or less parallels what we had in the Dayton, Arkansas game. As LSU stormed in front, Georgia Tech comes back to trim it to only 1 at the half. The other one's tied, Dayton and Arkansas. First, your comments on Lethal Weapon 3 coming back in this game.
Well, especially let's look at Chris Jackson, who has only 5 points, 2 for 7 from the floor. And Kenny Anderson hit that last basket, 11 points for him. LSU down 20-3, up 20-3 early in this game. Georgia Tech in good position right now.
Yeah, down 17 is trimmed to 1. All right, the winner of that game, LSU and Georgia Tech, will face Michigan State, the 1 seed, advancing with a 4-point victory today. Of course, the big shocker everyone's been dealing with here for the last hour. North Carolina, the 8 seed over the 1 seed in the Midwest. Oklahoma falls by 2. Elsewhere today, Ball State springs the surprise on Louisville out west, beating the 4 seed out there. The 12th seeded Ball State Cardinals advancing on and will face UNLV in the next round Friday in Oakland. UNLV beats Ohio State 4th straight time in the tournament. The Buckeyes have lost in the second round. Clemson comes from behind to beat LaSalle down 19 in the first half. The Tigers take it and move on to face UConn, the 1 seed in the East, Thursday at the Meadowlands, as Connecticut had a 20-point victory over California in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 1976. Chris Smith led the way, 24 points for the Huskies in their victory. We'll continue on CBS after this message. Jim Nance and Mike Francesa still wishing you St. Patrick's Day greetings. You know, the road to the Final Four draws together not only 64 teams from the entire country, but also some star players from places as remote as Finland, Israel, and Zaire. The University of Texas features Guillermo Myers, the man they call Panama. But as Leslie Visser reports, less than 3 months ago, basketball was the furthest thing from his mind.
On December 22nd, many Americans were riveted to news reports of the military action in Panama as the United States carried out plans to overthrow the government of General Manuel Noriega. One young man at the University of Texas was particularly concerned.
I was thinking about my friends, I was thinking about my family. When you think of Panama, you don't think of war. You don't think of, people being killed, hurt, It hit me pretty hard. Especially when looking in the background, I was looking at sites that I used to look out of my window. And it was hard. It was hard.
Guillermo Myers, who went to high school in Brooklyn, was born and raised in Panama. He is the starting center for the Texas Longhorns, who advanced to the second round of the NCAA tournament with a victory over Georgia at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. Back in December, Guillermo hoped that the tension between the U.S. forces and the Panamanian defense troops would be resolved without further bloodshed. But mostly he feared for the safety of his father.
He was up late at night trying to call his dad to make sure that they were okay and that they weren't injured or anything. And it just really put a dark cloud over things.
I couldn't go to sleep. I was stressed out. I went to practice, I tried to give 110%, but my mind was not into basketball. My mind was into Panama.
It was really difficult for me to handle it, and I remember all I could do was just put my arm around him and to tell him that basketball wasn't important.
Since then, Myers bounced back to lead the Longhorns in the middle, while his father in Panama wishes him continued success.
I'm really proud of him. I hope one day I get an opportunity to go and see him play in the States. I wish him luck.
Well, tomorrow, Panama and his teammates from Texas will take on Purdue. What about that game, Mike?
I know Gene Katie has to be worried because Tommy Penders has done very well in the tournament last couple of years. In Texas, they like to run, shoot those threes. It'll be an interesting game.
It will be, and that bracket has opened up today with 1 seed Oklahoma losing to North Carolina. And we'll continue on the road to the Final Four on CBS in just a moment.
Are these the international rules?
For a word he knows.
He's going for a two-syllable word.
Ladies and gentlemen.
23 across. Europe.
426.
It's a continent.
Let's stick with one-syllable words. He's fine. Hold your hand.
This is what American Airlines does better than anyone else. Arrive on time. Again and again. In fact, American has had the best on-time arrival record of the 7 largest domestic airlines for as long as records have been kept. American Airlines, the on-time machine.
CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Mazda Cars and Trucks. Mazda, it just feels right. 7-Up and your local 7-Up bottler, 7-Up, the cool spot. And by Gillette and the revolutionary Gillette Sensor Shaving System. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Well, here at the half, Dayton and Arkansas are tied at 42. Dayton staying in the game because of the points they have scored off of turnovers, a total of 15. They also have held the Razorbacks' big two, TODD and Lee Mayberry. You can see how little they have scored, and their season average is 34. But then Dick Papero hit Nolan Richardson for a technical because he left the coach's box. We just had a brief chat with Papero. He said that Nolan stepped out on the floor. That's why he hit him with the tee. After that, the game turned completely around. Arkansas outscored Dayton 15-5. No fouls called against the Razorbacks. 58% shooting since then. And Billy Tucker, give us an overview of what to expect of the second half here.
Well, Brent, the first half, without question, Arkansas did not come to play defensively. Dayton, a very good club, well coached, took that ball right to them, particularly on the offensive end of the floor where they penetrated at will, got the ball inside, and scored extremely well.
How were the nachos here in Austin?
The nachos are great. I mean, if you're in Texas, you've got to eat them, Brent.
All right.
Can you imagine somebody bringing us a hot dog at halftime when you've got nachos? Hot dogs are for New York, not Austin, Texas. $3 haircuts are for Salt Lake City, nachos for Texas.
All right.
I mean, I'm not a big-time traveler, but I've learned a little bit.
Arkansas finished the half on an 11-0 run over the last 3:53. Dayton was up by 11, 42-31. So we start deadlock at 42.
Let's see if the feet start moving in the second half for Arkansas. It's always the good indicator as to whether your guys are going to try to do something on the defensive end. And let's hope for Knight's sake that he gets some calls here in the second half, because he got bruised in the latter part of the first.
Dayton turns it over on its first possession. Mayberry pulls it back out. And this is Murray, who starts the second half, along with Day, Howell, and Credit. Missing again from the perimeter, having a horrible shooting day is Lee Mayberry. Knight gives it on back to Robinson, who has been a force all game long. That's 14 points.
Very good finisher, not afraid to pull up and take that jumper. Brent, as I said, Mayberry leads the nation in field goal shooting percentage from the three-point line. He's 0 for 4 out there today.
Run down by Dayton. That's Ray Springer.
Two-three zone by Arkansas.
Punch to Corbett, short on the shot. Credit's rebound. Credit gets it back for the easy layup.
And Corbett was still down at the other end of the floor, nobody picking up.
Now Knight penetrates and uses the jump shot.
Good rebound.
And bang, just like that, Nolan Robinson adds 2 more. Averages less than 9 a game, has scored 16 here against Arkansas. The foul called against Dayton. Boy, the Heroes are not playing like it.
No, they aren't. Knight 1 for 7, but as I said, in fairness to him, he got hammered on 2 of those 7 shots not called. Mayberry just 0 for 4 from the outside, has missed every shot he's taken today.
Billy, this is the floor where Arkansas enjoyed one of its great successes in NCAA tournament play.
And you think of a club like Louisville that lost today in a heartbreaker. They also lost in that game. U.S. Reed from half court threw it in to beat Denny Crumb's club.
Howell scoring, keeping the Razorbacks there. That's 17 points for Howell in this game.
Of course, Dayton, there you see Oliver Miller sitting back and relaxing. And if Nolan Richardson saw that scene, he'd have that towel right on his head.
He was looking for a few nachos, too, Billy.
Yeah, he's probably annoyed at me.
Tied again at 46.
Arkansas has been able to get nothing off the press.
This time they
still
do.
there. First time today.
Mayberry from behind. He is so slick at that, as Razorback fans know, all season long. He's able to come in behind the man with the ball. Now, still can't get it cooking, and there's contact underneath and put the field goal down. Chance for a three-point play. The foul is against Coffey.
Here's the first time today that Arkansas was able to turn it on the press. Everybody picking up. And actually, Dayton almost had it beat, but good quick hands from the backside. Day going to go now to the foul line. This young man seems to get bigger every time I see him. He started off at about a 6'6" freshman last year, and now he's up there pushing 6'8" or 9.
A three-point Razorback lead. Now you wonder how the Flyers have performed coming from the backside. And that should answer the question as Springer makes it a one-point game. And quickly, Mayberry to the attack.
Good job by Knight on defense that time. Mayberry had him in the open court one-on-one. Couldn't beat him.
Off Credit's hands on the turnover. Knight comes right back with a beautiful move at midcourt. And they follow up. Look what I've got.
Give Murray an assist on that play. He made a steal and then put it right back in Dayton's hands. And just when you think this Dayton team is ready to go down, they come right back with some great hustle play.
Robinson now with 18 points, having a spectacular game scoring. Howell on the drive, and he's fouled. Watch this move in the open floor, Billy. It was beautiful.
It certainly was. Beat his man, then he has the little drop-off pass, and that's where Murray touched it. But Robinson, who's been the man of the hour throughout this ball game, puts it right back up inside. Very good score. Robinson averaging just 9.9 a game, so he's actually doubling his production here today. And in the, he picks up right where he came from the MCC tournament. Had 42 points in those 3 games, 19 of 27 from the field. So he's been on some hot streak.
Game is tied. Ewell loses the handle.
Could be Howell.
Foul is against Howell. That's his second.
We talk about Robinson in his entire career, Brent. For some reason, for the first 2 months of the season, he averages down around 4 points a game. Then the last 2 months, he builds himself up to solid double figures.
Knight breaks free for the Flyers. Good block that time by Howell, but right into the hands of Corbett. And they call the held ball, and it will go over. Ball goes over to Arkansas with the score tied at 50, 16-58. The Razorbacks break back with Howell fouled. He'll come to the line to shoot a pair.
That was a two-handed chest pass by Mayberry. Instead of the baseball pass, went about 70 feet. Pretty difficult to do that. We really had Robinson and Howell have saved both of these clubs today offensively. And Arkansas, I guess on this floor, used to coming back because they were down 20-9 to Princeton. Then got the lead, then fell behind again. And the wake-up call didn't come here today either.
Corbett having some difficulty now against this Arkansas defense. Robertson's open, missed the shot. Dayton gets it back, hustling for the rebound at the offensive end.
You're not afraid to take that jumper out there. Got a pretty good looking three-point shot for a 6'8".
That was Credit who stepped in on Ewell. Now O'Brien starting to get a little upset with the officiating at this end.
Good job for Jim to go ahead and work those officials as Nolan Richardson did in the first half and got the breaks, what, 15-5 you pointed out, Brent, from that point on?
Exactly. Not a single foul called on the Razorbacks after that technical.
There's the three.
And the Razorbacks on the move. 3-on-1, and Howell keeps it with a left-handed layup.
Lindsey Howell is just a winner. The wrong size to play forward in the major leagues and does it anyway.
Another turnover by Dayton, and Day banks one in.
Brian's going for the timeout. Club a little rattled right now.
Down 6. They don't pick it up.
He wanted to call the time and didn't get it, and he should have.
Now it's down 8. A great run by Arkansas. 9-0. For Billy Packer, I'm Brent Musburger. Welcome back to Austin, Texas. Campus at the University of Texas. 15:40 to go, Billy.
Brent, here is Arkansas basketball at its best. Lindsey Howell on the steal, takes it in. You can see how good he is at finishing off the break, and then come right back with a steal by Mayberry. Keeps it loose, and Todd Day pulls up to hit up one of his patented jump shots. Jim O'Brien tried to get the timeout, but none of his players could see him, and it cost him another 2.
Arkansas protecting the ball much better here in the second half. They have simply gotten their wake-up call here.
And Knight has been taken out of the game offensively. They never seem to be able to get him the ball once they cross half court.
Ewell, his 3 is out. Arkansas rebound.
After a timeout, you want a better shot than that, Brent. I really think they need to get that ball into Knight's hands, get him on a roll if they can.
Murray's rattles out. Day underneath, and it goes in. And it's Ray Springer with the jump shot. Back quickly is Credit. Foul against Dayton. That's on Knight. Meanwhile, LSU and Georgia Tech are deadlocked at 49. If you're not aware, in the early going, LSU streaked out to a huge lead before Kenny Anderson.
Fred, what happened on that play? Lindsey Howell was the fellow we thought went down, and another turnover. Arkansas really picking up the tempo now.
They called a foul on Credit.
Yeah, they did. Coming over the back.
Dayton trying to take advantage of some opportunities. Robertson gets his own miss. Stays with it. Corbett. And Corbett helps out and taps it in.
And you'd say that this tempo is going all Arkansas's way, but you got to remember Dayton has won at this tempo. They don't mind playing a 100-point game.
No, we're at 60-54 now with 14:10 to go.
But Howell has a great ball fake and head fake when he gets to the top of the key.
Murray gets it back. 62-54. Great shot.
Murray's been doing a good job defensively, moving his feet much better than Bowers was at the beginning of the game.
Here's Corbett on the inside. Got his man up in the air. Great block by Credit. The crowd wanted a foul called at that end.
No basket.
No basket.
We're going to see the ball going down low to Corbett. Pretty hard to believe that nobody got any piece of the arm. You can see what happened on the way up. The ball was hit by the elbow, and I think probably a good no call. Both teams going to the bench, Brent.
Connecticut a winner earlier today, so they move on.
Brent, how about the interesting story in regard to the fellow that recommended Jim O'Brien for the job, Jack Ramsey?
Well, he's married to Jack Ramsey's daughter.
You know, it's kind of funny.
Get my son-in-law a job.
He is one of the fellows that I've admired as far as basketball brains in the history of the game, Jack Ramsey. I was speaking of him. He said, well, I gave him 5 names, but my son-in-law went to the top of the list. Now, I don't blame him at all.
Jack Ramsey, one-time great coach, guided the Portland Trailblazers to an NBA championship.
No, another interesting thing today, with LaSalle getting knocked out, Speedy Morris was Jim O'Brien's high school coach. So they came into the NCAA tournament having the longest win streaks at 22. Jim beat right behind him at 11.
Robinson.
They're going to the outside game, and they're forgetting all about Knight. That's a walk. Ewell and Miller pounding each other down in low.
Mayberry still cannot find the range. He hits threes better than 50% of the time. And Springer comes back with the runner tapped up and in by Robinson. Mayberry is now 1 of 9 for the game.
And I think 0 for 6 from the three-point line, right? That'll knock him out of that national lead. Howell understands the game so well at his position. Just doesn't make mistakes.
12.5 minutes to go here. 63-56. Robinson rebounding for the Flyers. Great move that time by Springer.
Springer taking it up. He's got one of the most unusual looking shots that I've seen. Nice comeback here by Dayton, not to be put away so easily. Of course, they've been part of Big Four history. The great team Donnie May went with to the Final Four. It was Kareem's first national championship.
Basket counts.
Well, what's happening now with Credit and Miller double teaming on the inside, that big size really coming to the front. So this is arrested Miller. Credit is on the bench.
We're in Austin, Texas. This is the second of our Midwest region doubleheader, with the winners advancing on to Dallas for games next weekend. Already here today, North Carolina has ousted the #1 seed in the Midwest, Oklahoma. Beat them at the buzzer. And now Arkansas leading Dayton 65-58. Make it 66. So we've got a break at the 11:52 mark. And we'll be right back.
Man, what a day. I could sure use a vacation.
March Madness continues tomorrow. Games all day. We're in the second game here with Arkansas leading Dayton. We'll start off with St. John's at Duke out of Atlanta. Then a lot of you will see Virginia against Syracuse, Texas against Purdue, UCLA, Kansas. And then Loyola, Michigan, Xavier, Georgetown, Northern Iowa, Minnesota. And that bonus game out for the West Coast involving Arizona and Alabama. All on the road to the Final Four in Denver, Colorado in a couple of weeks. And Dayton is trying to get on that highway to Dallas. Howard underneath with a good rebound for the Flyers. But they turn it over.
Howard did a good job not pushing off on that play, and then walked trying to get his balance.
Now in pull up. Dayton coming back.
Well, what
can do it defensively.
Great finisher is Day, because he can pull up for that jump shot as well as take it inside. They've gone to a box and one now, wanting to make sure that Knight doesn't get off.
And Corbin lays it in for the Flyers, so it's an 8-point Arkansas lead at the 11-minute mark, with the Razorbacks coming back now.
Nice move by Nolan Richardson. He realizes Knight hasn't been involved in the offense this entire second half. He wants to make sure, in case Jimmy O'Brien sets something up at that timeout, that he doesn't let him get involved easily in the offense.
From the left baseline, Day now starting to catch fire here with back-to-back field goals, and the Razorbacks open up a 10-point lead at the 10.5-minute mark.
Good block.
And it's Day. Beautiful. Arkansas busts out, and Day is on a roll now. He has hit all 6 of his shots here in the second half. Corbett under fire, and it's all Arkansas.
But they just have superior athleticism. Everybody just a little bit taller, a little bit quicker.
This is the kind of team that Jim O'Brien would like to have someday up at Dayton. Same kind of system, aggressive, run and gun.
Bowers and Mayberry today probably haven't as down a game as they've had in a long, long time. When Mayberry is co-player of the year in the Southwest Conference, we see that great block by Day, and then he takes it on the break. Of course, Travis Mays, who was the co-MVP, didn't have a bad game to start things off for Texas.
Whoa, he lit up Georgia.
Yes, he did. Explosive player. Good pass. Miller does so many good things.
It's going to be an offensive foul. They push off. In that game, by the way, Chris Jackson scored only 5 points. LSU.
Check it out. It was only one time. One time.
Georgia Tech's doing a lot of things to stop them, which should open up some things for that great inside game. Even though those fellas are young, O'Neal and Stanley Roberts, they're very capable.
Arkansas setting up its press. Brad's back to help out, and they knock it away. What Arkansas does so well, but right into the hands of the Dayton man.
Check this defense.
Foul against Arkansas.
This is the answer for Dayton. They've got to get the ball tonight.
They could have used Norm Greavy, especially late in that first half when they were looking for bench scoring. They're without their top scoring sub. Greavy averaging 9.8. He suffered an injury in the victory over Illinois, a deep hip bruise. He said one more day off and he could have played. He could have gone tomorrow, but not today.
He tried to run in the hotel lobby, he told me. But he said it's not just the bruise, which is open like a cut. It just goes all the way up to his back. He just can't bend over in a defensive stance. Looks like Clark Kent. Bentley looked at him in the street clothes with those glasses on, and he comes out in the court and plays with a bandit.
If he looks like Clark Kent, he better find that phone booth right now for they need it. 72-60. Arkansas, 8:55. And, Billy, how did this one drain away from the Flyers?
Well, a couple of things I think hurt, and you got to go back to that first half, was that great run that Arkansas made when Dayton had them in a situation. They just weren't playing up to snuff. Officiating got a little wild and gave Arkansas the comeback. And since that time, I think their superior athletes and talent have just taken over. And Jimmy O'Brien trying to extol his club on. Went to St. Joe's College. You think of all the fellows having great years that have had association with that school. Paul Westhead, Jimmy Lynam, with Philadelphia 76ers up in first place now.
Razorbacks can't do anything wrong. That was Hawkins with that jump shot.
Hawkins really showed some intensity in the first half on defense. Starting to swarm now. It's amazing the difference in the intensity of Arkansas in the second half and the way they started this game.
Knight. Hawkins rebound.
He's a 1-on-4. Smart move.
Doesn't like the numbers.
That's right.
But he'll take this one. Knight again. Dish to Corbett, and Hawkins was there. How quick the Razorbacks are. They get back, they got a hand on the ball, they knocked it out.
I admire one thing about Knight, and that is the fact that he has not tried to force things. I think his team forgot who he was and didn't get him the ball, but he hasn't tried to go and take things over one-on-one.
was only 1 of 8, and he took some punishment in that first half off his penetrating moves. Tried to hit the jump shot, paid a price for it, and Arkansas has taken him out of its game.
He was 1 of 8, Brendan. I think he was 1 for 7 in the first half, so he's only had 1 shot here in the second half. And there's that knuckleball.
Long pass for Hawkins.
Long. Now, when you're up 9 and it's in the NCAA tournament, you don't throw that pass.
Arkansas does. 7:52 to go, and we'll be right back.
For 1990, some Oldsmobiles are new from the ground up. Others are new from the top down. Some have striking new profiles, while others have bold new side views. Some new Oldsmobiles are at home in front of mansions, and others are at home in front of everything else.
This is the new generation.
At Bic, we sympathize with the ways that you pull and stretch your face in search of a better shave. That's why we've created the Bic Metal Shaver. The patented Bic Metal stretches and smooths your skin thanks to its unique metal guard bar, so the shaver glides closely and comfortably. So instead of stretching, start reaching for a Bic Metal Shaver. It stretches your skin for a better shave, and that's no stretch.
The struggle for excellence is the spirit behind running a business. It's the only way to run an airline. At Northwest, helping you do business is putting us on the fast track. In all we do, we're striving to jump the line from the merely good to being great. Because being the best is the only thing we want to be.
Sunday isn't always a day of rest. Tomorrow, catch a triple-header thriller as second-round excitement continues. It's March Madness Mania.
Well, the sun has set on the capital of the state of Texas here in Austin, this lovely city of 500,000 folks. And inside the Frank Irwin Center, Midwest Region doubleheader. The #1 seed Oklahoma ousted earlier by North Carolina. And Arkansas holding on to a 74-65 lead over Dayton, and the winners due for an appointment in Dallas next weekend. This is Nigel Knight with the jump shot short.
Just got into the flow. Boy, Miller's some target inside.
They hit the target, and he hits Fury, who takes it below, coming in. Score it and put him on the line.
Wes Coffey really did a good job keeping the ball out of Miller's hands on the first go-around, but couldn't continue. There he's trying to fight around that post. No chance. Miller with a great touch passing.
Number 35.
4 fouls now on Corbett.
This young man was Mr. Tennessee in basketball. Nolan Richardson loves Tennessee, loves Memphis. Get me one out of there every year is what his goal is.
Larry French wants doughboy airplanes coming up from Arkansas. Lead pass out of Robinson. Coffey. And if you just joined us, here's a summation of this game. Dayton extremely impressive in the first half, but Arkansas has come back, and they have protected the ball much better against the Dayton defense here in the second half. And the Dayton shooting star has been struggling all game long. He scored only 8 points, averaging almost 30 a game. An 11-game winning streak on the line for the Flyers. When the day began, that tied Michigan State for the second longest. Michigan State's already won.
You know, I think Oliver Miller may be as smart a postman as I have seen for a young player in a long time. You know, he really understands the game. He's almost like a field general in there. passes the ball back out, knows when to throw it, knows when to leap. He just needs to take care of himself athletically. You ought to take a look at fellow down at Georgia Tech, Dennis Scott, that got himself in shape.
About 10 minutes to go in that LSU game. And here on the turnover, because he was out of bounds, it'll go back to the Razorbacks. We've got 6:46 left in this one.
And Jim O'Brien may have to do something he didn't think he could do to Arkansas, and that is to go out and press him. Because he's in a situation now he can't afford to trade baskets. That has been the key in their great run. But he didn't want to press his team because he thought they had him physically.
And it's against Arkansas.
Not a bad foul by Hury, because on the other end of the floor, Dayton had a 3-on-1 break. There's Miller with his dunk. Tough shot. Particularly with Cuffey right with him. Knight stats on the year: 23 points a game, 80% from the free throw line, 51% from the floor, shooting right at 50% from the three-point line. Sensational season. And Brent, the league had some other outstanding players. Anthony Bonner from St. Louis, going to be an outstanding professional selection. Led the league in rebounding. Tyrone Hill, Xavier, we're going to see him before this tournament's over again.
77-69, Arkansas.
You can see they stayed in this basic half-court defense the whole time.
Waiting for Mayberry to pump a couple of threes. Instead, it'll be Day. Missing. Knight off with the rebound.
Great
pass. Open man. And it's 2 for the Flyers as Ray Springer takes the pass from Nigel Knight. And it's suddenly a 6-point game and a big defensive opportunity for the Flyers here. They trap in the corner and they send it back to Miller, and here's Day. The Razorbacks content to run some seconds down off the clock. 5:42 on the game clock. A 6-point difference. The opportunity has arrived for Dayton if they can do anything with it.
And normally you could surround this zone with Mayberry and Day, but Mayberry hadn't hit anything all day. Push.
Push underneath. And a break for the Flyers. Both teams are over the limit.
Here was Knight with a sensational pass, and look, over the head, two-hander, hit Springer for the layup. Well done. Jim O'Brien going back to that rotation. You know, I really admire his patience with this club when it looked like they're ready to crack.
Arkansas, with some admiration, calls a timeout. We'll be right back.
When you got it right, you got it right. Whether you're talking about this, whether you're talking about the one and only Diet Cola that does it for Ray, Diet Pepsi. You know, nothing tastes as good to me as Diet Pepsi. All right, now, who is the wise guy?
Diet Pepsi with 100% NutraSweet.
Now, that's the right one, baby.
The best laid plans of beagles and men often go astray. Check with your MetLife rep to make sure you have the right kind of insurance. Get Met. It pays.
You finally found a speed you can handle. New hot wings from Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Look out
Anti-lock braking systems, all-wheel drive, fuel-injected multi-valve engines, dent-resistant composite body panels, a turbocharged intercooled V6 engine. Only one car company in the world can put all this technology in one showroom. Pontiac, of course.
In Knoxville, Michigan State, the top seed, has advanced to New Orleans. Right now, LSU and Georgia Tech with about 7 minutes to go. And the amazing Kenny Anderson has led the Ramblin' Wreck back into a 72-69 lead. In the early going, it was 17-1 in that game, Billy. LSU out.
They had them down 17, and one thing you have to remember about the Georgia Tech club, it is not a very deep team, so that the numbers would favor LSU going down a stretch, at least from a fatigue standpoint. Tough miss by Coffey. Big steal.
Great steal by Ray Springer.
And he's been hot.
Misses the three. Out of bounds. What a golden opportunity for O'Brien's Flyers.
Here you can see the steal on the inside. And Springer's been the guy putting it back up. Both teams have not been able to go to Mayberry or Knight, the two hot hands.
Deflected away on the pass and out of bounds. Hit by Coffey. 5:06 to go. It is a 6-point Arkansas lead. Dayton having scored the last 6 points in this game to get back in it. Howell drops it into Miller. He pounds it. Missed the shot as Coffey stayed right with it. Quick pass now to Robinson, who's alone. And Miller, I think they're going to call him. Are they going to call goaltending on the shot?
One official thought the other official called goaltending. The other official said he had it right on the ball. But they are going to call a foul.
And that's number 4 on Miller.
But they do have Mario Credit over there, so it's not like they are going to be caught as Dean Smith was in the first game without size. Great job by Coffey, and Jim O'Brien acknowledges it and stays with his substitution pattern. Here comes Credit in the game.
Here was Coffey at the other end on Miller. It looked like it was going to be an easy field goal, and Coffey with a spectacular block, and the Flyers have gone cold here at the free throw line their last 2 opportunities. Robinson now with 20 points, and he's cooled down considerably in the second half. Misses. So Arkansas survives a couple of forays, comes down with a 6-point lead, 4:45 to go.
Mayberry not looking for his shot at all.
Credit makes it an 8-point Razorback lead.
It's a big advantage that Nolan Richardson has. He can come back in with that kind of size.
Now Knight will try to shoot him back in with a 3 as he hits that one, making it 79-74.
They waste on Credit.
You know that Mayberry wants to hit a 3 before this one's done. But he steps inside and starts off with 2.
Well, that could get him on track, build his confidence. Knight looking like he's ready to take over.
They ship inside. The jump hook gets the roll, and Sam Howard, the 6'8 junior, makes it an 81-76, a 5-point Razorback lead.
Give Mayberry some credit for confidence and also for his composure, having a bad day, not trying to force things.
Robinson coming out, fouled Murray. We're in the 1-on-1 here with 3.5 minutes to go. Tight in that one as LSU takes a 1-point lead. And now Georgia Tech has just tied it just seconds ago on a free throw. ESP, Billy. I just felt that. You know, this is a big date in Dayton basketball history because on this date in 1984, Dayton upset Oklahoma. That was the Sooner team led by Wayman Tisdale, 89-85 in the NCAA's second round. That was the great run by Roosevelt Chapman. That team was eliminated by the eventual national champion, Georgetown. Held ball, and it's going to go over to Dayton. The possession arrow pointing toward the Flyers.
You know, that club, though, Brent, I think was more shocked that they moved forward. This team has an inner confidence that they feel they belong here.
Corbett under pressure. They get into the hands of Springer. Nails the 3. 81-79. It's a 2-point Arkansas lead. 3:20 to go.
Springer has really picked up the slack. They're playing man-to-man and playing hard-nosed. They got out of their 2-3 zone.
deflected by...
Hit Murray's hand.
Yes, indeed. Murray touched it. It goes to the Flyers. They can tie it here at the 3-minute mark or go ahead with a 3.
And you know what else they have working for them? These Texas fans now all of a sudden become a home court advantage for Dayton, which they're used to taking advantage of.
They quietly watched this one for quite a while, savoring the first game. Now they're right back in the thick of things, and Richardson called off his press that time. Knight is the main man. He's number 32, awaiting the ball back from Springer. Here he comes.
They're stretching that defense out.
Knight with a great pass to Corbett. We're tied. 2.5 minutes.
Great look by Knight. Everybody on the Arkansas team assumed that he would put up the shot as he looked at the rim and then dished down inside to his senior buddy, two-time MVP of this club. And Corbett not only hits the shot, but goes to the line.
Out of Dayton Patterson High School, Anthony Corbett now moving to the line. At 7:24, it was 77-65 Arkansas. Now we are tied at 81 with 2:30 to go. Knight has done a fabulous job of running the floor, handing out 11 assists here this afternoon, 81 all.
And Brent, I think that he has enough confidence, even though he hasn't had a big day offensively, to still take it over.
And there it rains a 3. 84-81, 2:13. Dayton's turn. Knight gives this one up. Now he takes it. Off the iron, rebounded by Robinson. The turnaround off to the side. Arkansas ball.
Day doing it on both ends.
Great pass to Howell, and he turned it over.
And Brent, look at the clock. 1:54 to go. You don't try to go for the kill here. You use some clock. Make sure you get the good shot. Arkansas not doing a good job in that respect. And Knight, I'm surprised, took that long a three-point shot. Penetration is the answer now for him.
Ewell and Howard down on the inside. Robinson on the outside, along with Springer and Knight. Knight with the ball. Ewell comes out to help him. They got to get it back into Knight's hands.
There he is, penetration.
This time he jumps it off, and Howard takes one over everything. Not the man they wanted firing the ball there. 1:29 to go, and now bringing it up is Mayberry. A three-point Arkansas lead.
And here's where they missed Greavy, their best three-point shooter on that penetration. Normally would have been standing there to hit the jumper.
They're going to get Anthony Corbett back into this lineup. They need someone underneath. They could have settled for a 2 right there.
Sure.
With so much time to go. They didn't need to seek out a 3.
Howard actually stepped backwards to get behind the line. Straight man, Mayberry has not penetrated much today. Hadn't even looked for it.
Miller banging on the inside, wants the lob. It's off his hands. And it was hit by Knight off Mayberry. Dayton's ball. And Corbett returns for the Flyers. Now they're inside of a minute. They are down by 3. All eyes will be on Knight and what he wants to do here. He wants to go for the tie. He's got it. 37 seconds.
And use dual screen. If you're Arkansas, you want one shot here.
They'll call the timeout.
Staring out there all day. What are you doing?
Trying to figure out which computer is the most powerful.
Well, that's easy. The one with the most memory, megahertz, MIPS, you know.
No, I don't think so.
There we go.
I think the most powerful computer is the one that people actually use.
Macintosh has the power to change the way you look at computers.
But that's not really a fair comparison. People like using the Mac.
down, please. The festivities are for Dwayne tonight. Dwayne, what's it been, 34 years? 34 years. All that time, I don't think Dwayne ever missed a delivery. I guess that means this division never missed a delivery.
Way to go, Dwayne.
Happy retirement, Dwayne.
Boy, good job.
Now it's our turn to deliver.
Mass Mutual. We help you keep your promises.
Dayton and Arkansas are tied with 27 seconds. We welcome those of you who've been watching that great LSU Georgia Tech game. This three by Nigel Knight has tied the Dayton Flyers with the Arkansas Razorbacks. Already in this region here today, North Carolina has ousted Oklahoma. Now in white with the ball, Arkansas. Last shot time, and Billy Packer, they've got a lot of weapons out there.
They're going into a four corners.
Remember, Day is the fellow that you want to go ahead and take one from the outside, but I think they want major end penetration. Tell Miller to go up for the rebound.
This is Day with the ball. He is number 10. Swings inside with the top of the circle. Not there. Gets his own rebound and puts it in. 3 seconds to go. And timeout has been called by Jim O'Brien's Dayton Flyers. They're down a pair.
He's asking for 1 more second.
But he only gets the 2.
Here is the basket. It was a great follow-up by Day on the inside. He'd had a quiet first half, but he came alive.
Friend, as I said, Day is pushing 6'9", and he can back you in from that guard position. You've got to play him out there because he's a great three-point threat.
And yet he can go ahead and get the offensive rebound.
Arkansas coach Nolan Richardson over on his sideline. Now that's something. At this moment, trying to balance a little cup of water. That's pretty good. Nerves over there. Now, Nigel Knight for the Dayton Flyers in the first 34 minutes of this game had 8 points. And then, over the last 6 minutes, he scored another 8. And he's dished out 10 assists. Now, Billy, 2 seconds, not much time.
Not much time. You can't go ahead and dribble it all on this play. It has to be a pass, get it up to the half-court area, and get off that shot. Certainly possible, but you can't afford to put the ball on the floor.
Been just a great tournament, has it? Northern Iowa with that marvelous upset. Ball State advancing. North Carolina.
Loyola Marymount story.
That's a great game, and all of you are going to be seeing the end of it as soon as the last 2 seconds here and regulation come to an end. Although, who knows, if Jim O'Brien can get a miracle here, we can get into overtime.
I'm surprised that they don't have credit in the game as well to get some more size in there. They're going to run the loop, it looks like, here to get Nigel Knight the ball. Here he comes.
Howard throws it up high. Ball is free. Arkansas advances. It'll be Arkansas and North Carolina with an appointment in Dallas. So here's our story today. North Carolina moving on to the next round, and they will play Arkansas. Arkansas survives 86-84 over a tenacious Dayton team. And the Chevrolet players of this game, Nigel Knight of Dayton and Lindsey Howell of Arkansas. With Billy Packer, I'm Brent Musburger. We hope you've enjoyed this one. Right now, let's send you to Jim Nance.
Oh, Brent, that was a great couple of games today in Austin. But meantime, another intense one in Knoxville. Chris Jackson has just fouled out for LSU. The Tigers have the basketball trail by a point. Let's go there. Southeast region action. Brad Nessler and Tommy Heinsohn with the finish there.
at the Southeast Regional in Knoxville, Tennessee. Brad Nessler and Tommy Heinsohn along with you. We welcome you to this Southeast Regional second-round matchup where Georgia Tech has a 1-point lead with 2:18 to go. And Shaquille O'Neal about ready to go to the free throw line for Dale Brown's LSU Tigers.
It's really been the big guys of LSU pitted against the outside shooting of Georgia Tech. This guy has been absolutely fantastic in the early stages of the game, but he is saddled with 4 personal fouls right now, as is Stanley Roberts, their other 7-footer.
Georgia Tech has warmed it up in the second half from three-point land. That is what's gotten them back in the game and gotten them the lead. LSU's controlled the paint. The points in the lane have been the Tigers. And O'Neal, who's had a brilliant game, just missed his first free throw but hit his second.
Chris Jackson, their other great backcourt star for LSU, is on the bench, having fouled out.
Johnny McNeil, the big guy for Georgia Tech, has fouled out. And we're tied at 89. Dennis Scott lost the handle and is fouled by Singleton. And Singleton now in foul trouble with 4. 2 players already gone, several other players in foul trouble. Jackson out and McNeil out. Shaquille O'Neal, Stanley Roberts each with 4. Malcolm Mackey, Georgia Tech's lone remaining big man, also with 4. And Carl Brown, their defensive standout at guard, has 4. And Singleton, you saw, just got his 4th foul as he fouled Dennis Scott. Dennis Scott having a little bit of trouble from the free throw line, which is unlike him. He's only 2 for 5 from the line.
Georgia Tech was not afraid of the big guys, although in the beginning of this ballgame I thought they weren't too intelligent. They tried to attack the strength, and they really found out how strong those big guys could be by eating a lot of basketballs. But since then, they've made all kinds of moves on the perimeter. Got some fast break opportunities.
Williamson had a notion from 3-point range, instead drives and scores. What a second half he's had. 16 for Williamson. Kenny Anderson penetrates.
I'll tell you, it's one great play after another in this game.
At the top of the game, if you thought Tommy and I were crazy to say it might be a triple-digit game, now you know what we mean. 92-91 Georgia Tech. Roberts kicks it back out. There's a steal. Anderson is the man that did that.
Bobby Crimmins said he would mix the defense up on the big guys, collapse somebody every once in a while, get out on the guards. Causes just a little bit of confusion.
Tech wants to spread it out and use some clock. 25 on the shot clock, 53 on the game clock, as you see. However, O'Neal may have gotten a piece of it. Here comes Williamson and has it knocked away from behind by Kenny Anderson. And we've got a timeout. 45 seconds to play. Georgia Tech leading LSU 92-91.
Because there's a man in Chicago planning his retirement this year. Because there's a family in Boston who hopes to send their kids to college someday. Because there's a doctor in New York looking forward to the day she'll open her own clinic. Because every investor is different, with dreams all their own. Dean Witter measures success, one investor at a time. Dean Witter, a member of the Sears Financial Network.
Phil and Laura Gordon, married, 1 child.
Frosted Flakes, Dad?
No, that's a kid's cereal, honey.
Yeah. How about some all-brand?
Publicly, they claim Kellogg's Frosted Flakes is just a kid's cereal, but these films tell a different story. Experts believe they loved those sweet, crunchy flakes as kids and just never got over them.
I forgot my lunch. What's going on? Nothing. Here, we're mine.
Really?
Oh, my gosh.
It's okay.
Why hide it? Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great!
You want a deal?
The Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra is one of America's most popular cars, and it's about to get a lot more popular. We've rolled back the price on the Cutlass Sierra S sedan by $500. Plus, factory to dealer incentives of $750 to $1,250 may be passed on to you. And qualified first-time buyers can get $600 cash back. That can mean up to $2,350 on a new Sierra S. See your Olds dealer now for details and deals.
On a new generation automobile.
Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville, and what a game we've had. 92-91 Georgia Tech. That's the time remaining in the corner of your screen. Georgia Tech with 2 timeouts. LSU has only 1. Neither team has fouls to give, and LSU has the possession arrow in their favor. With Tommy Heinsohn, I'm Brad Nessler. This is all it was billed to be.
Well, I think they'll obviously try and go inside. Roberts is the better offensive player off the box. Ncaa with 4 personals. And if Williamson makes the feed down there and they back down with his man, Williamson may end up with the outside shot.
There's a 5-second difference on the game clock and the shot clock. The shot clock right now is at 16. LSU will have to start to make a move at about 10, and here they come.
Well, Brown will be able to stay on his man.
Williamson penetrates. Didn't get it. We're going to have a whistle and a foul underneath. Singleton is fouled out. 7 seconds to play. Georgia Tech by 1 with the ball.
Well, they went inside, and then they double-teamed, but they still left Williamson wide open. And they kicked it to him. That gave him a little momentum to go inside. It was a great move to cut him off at the pass. And here's a lot of heavy rebounding, and Singleton came over the top, which gives the ball over to Georgia Tech.
Singleton just had a brilliant game. 12 points in the second half, 20 for the ball game before fouling out with 7 seconds to go.
So Scott will be up the line.
Tommy, you and I have seen a ton of basketball games, college basketball games this year. I don't know if there's been one much better.
There has not been, because the style of play, what really fascinated me about LSU is that with those big guys, how well they run up and down the court. When they get used to playing with each other, and with Jackson, so that they really can become a formidable basketball team. It's very, very young. Did not have a leader at the start of the year. Georgia Tech has come on real strong themselves. And in this ball game, they play with a tremendous amount of poise.
Tonight on CBS, it's a special rebroadcast of a 2-hour edition of Paradise, a gathering of guns. Gene Barry's Bat Masterson, Hugh O'Brien is Wyatt Earp, John Schneider, and Johnny Crawford are there. That's tonight following NCAA basketball on CBS.
You know, when this guy here kept us cool, they say he smiles all the time. And what he's really doing is, I think he's just having fun like we are.
He is.
And
it was taken for cockiness, especially in the Knoxville papers this week here at the Southeast Regional. And a lot of people thought that Dennis Scott maybe was a little too cocky and brash for his britches, but he just loves playing basketball. So does Kenny Anderson. We've had 11 ties. We've had 15 lead changes. We have 7 seconds to play. And one of the top free throw shooters from the ACC is going to go to the strike, Dennis Scott.
Well, right now, Scott obviously has to make these 2 free throws to put the game in as good a shape as he can.
And he's only 3 out of 6 so far.
Right. And
season average and 50% of the night for the 6'8 junior out of Reston, Virginia.
That's cool.
The ACC's top gun, who averaged 27.5 on the season. Second team All-American. If he hits this one, LSU needs a 3 to send it to overtime.
They got to get up on him and don't let him just advance the ball real quick.
Here's the finish. Williamson, no good. Georgia Tech makes the Sweet 16. since '85, Bobby Kremen's club makes the dance of 16. And what a game it was. Dennis Scott, 30 points. And here's how it ended.
Well, that man right there had an awful lot of pressure. He ate a lot of basketballs today as he took it to the big guys quite a bit. But here's the end coming up as they push it hard against the defense, and Brown gets right underneath them, so that makes it a difficult shot, and Gibson gets the rebound. Kenny Anderson, the point guard.
You think Bobby Kremen isn't a happy guy?
Beats Brooklyn.
A class act, Dale Brown. A happy Irishman on St. Patrick's Day is Bobby Kremen. Jim Nance is going to have more coming up from our studios in New York. And what can follow this, huh? Georgia Tech 94, LSU 91. And Georgia Tech advances in the Southeast Regional. They will meet Michigan State. And that one will be in New Orleans next week. Our players of the game, our Chevrolet players of the game, Shaquille O'Neal, brilliant for LSU, Kenny Anderson for Georgia Tech. For Tommy Heinsohn, I'm Brad Nessler saying so long from Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville, Tennessee. Again, Georgia Tech wins it 94-91. Let's send you back to Jim Nance.
Gillette announces a razor that can sense the individual needs of your face. Introducing the extraordinary Gillette.